So Alexander Volkanovski manages to beat Brian Ortega in a 5-round decision. This was a very entertaining fight, and although I watched the fight, I was struggling to keep my eyes open because it was in 5:30 in the morning. Us UK MMA fans have to go for a lot to watch these fights. But anyway, back to the fight. It was incredible, this fight, because obviously you had Volkanovski, who's merely known as a striker, but he had to show what he was actually good at in terms of his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because Brian Ortega is obviously a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and his Jiu-Jitsu game is incredible. And the first 1 or 2 rounds was actually just a striking. It was just a striking masterclass. I mean, both fighters were just like literally just trying to outstrike each other, and to some extent, it showed Brian Ortega's a game in terms of his striking ability. He literally does have that ability to actually strike on a high level. He's not as good as Volkanovski, don't get it twisted, but he's definitely up there as like one of the best strikers in the sport, to some extent. So yeah, in my time, I think it's fair to say that Ortega, he's not quite ready for the elites of his division. For example, like the Max Holloways or the Volkanovski. I think Volkanovski and Max Holloway are the two fighters that actually stand out in terms of their actual ability. Like, they're the two best fighters in their division. It sort of reminds me of who is it? Robert Whittaker and Izzy Adesanya. Them two are the best fighters in their division, and right now Volkanovski and Max Holloway are the best two fighters in their division. Obviously, Max Holloway needs to get past Yair Rodriguez. So, just to give a rundown of the fight, the first 2 rounds are just clean striking. The third round was one of the best yet, with a knockdown for Ortega. And obviously there was like 2 submissions and a ground and pound in the end. I don't know how Volkanovski managed to get past that actual actual submission, like 3 submission attempts. Ortega literally looked like he had him in a position to submit him. I mean, and on both occasions, somehow, I don't know how he managed to do it, but Volkanovski managed to get out of it 3 times in a row. I mean, and then towards the end of that, he started to ground and pound him. And then round 4 was a sluggish ground and pound. And then the 5th was just Ortega throwing it all. It was an amazing fight. It was a masterpiece of a fight. I think it might be the fight of the year for MMA at this point in time, because you had both fighters trying to impose their style on each other, and it was just beautiful to watch. Obviously, Ortega, he's not known as a striker, but his striking was crisp. But like he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, that's his base, and he almost got him into 3 submission attempts. And then he had Volkanovski, who's mostly known for his striking ability, managed to defend himself against the submission attempts. And obviously, I think Volkanovski clearly won the fight. I don't think it was a robbery. I think towards the end of the second round, Ortega was laying on the canvas, and he was just like, it almost looked like he died. Like, he could not get himself up again. It was quite incredible to see the level that he pushed himself to. I mean, towards the end of that round, you can see his face. He just did not look like he wanted anymore. But somehow he managed to dig deep and get himself out of that hole, and managed to finish the fight on his feet. At least he can have some pride and say, you know what, I finished the fight on my feet. The thing about Ortega is, like I said, I think he beats everyone except for Max Holloway and what's it called, Volkanovski. Everyone else, he gives them a good fight. Obviously, Max Holloway completely dominated him in his first fight, but I think clearly for this division, the only fight left, although I don't want to see it again, is a fight between Volkanovski and Max Holloway. I think they should have a third fight just to see who wins. Obviously, I thought Volkanovski clearly won the first fight against Max Holloway, and a lot of people think Max Holloway won the second fight. And it's ironic because the decision went the other way. The first fight clearly should have went to Volkanovski because he won, but then the second fight they gave it to Volkanovski, even though Max Holloway, a lot of people thought Max Holloway won. I think the only thing left for that division is for them two to fight. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, both of them are in their position where they should fight each other, I think. So yeah, that's my opinion. What's your opinion? It almost reminds me of a certain inevitability I mean, if you look at the Robert Whittaker versus Israel Adesanya fight, Robert Whittaker's already made 3 successful title defenses against very high level opposition, Darren Till and several other fighters, and now he's in a position where he needs to fight for the title. And I think it's the same with Volkanovski and Max Holloway. Both of them are in a position. Obviously, Max Holloway needs to get past Yair Rodriguez, but I think he's going to do that. Unless Yair Rodriguez beats him, I think it's inevitable they're going to fight for a 3rd time. So yeah, that's just my opinion. I think both fighters left it all on a cage that night. I think, you know what, if they were to fight several times, I think Ortega would beat Volkanovski at least 2-3 times. But tonight it was obviously Volkanovski's night, and he looked really good in there against him. So yeah, that's my opinion. Tell me your opinion. Who do you think Volkanovski should fight next? I think it's inevitable he should fight Max Holloway next for the 3rd fight. And where do you think Brian Ortega goes from here? Maybe he should get a rematch against maybe he should have a rematch against Korean Zombie, or what do you think he should do next? Tell me below, and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.